I wanted to show you some of the adorable plushes we have that can go along with these wonderful stories. These plushes can be great companions for while you're actually reading the story or while the child is reading the story, but they can also serve as reminders after the story is over of the lesson and the moral of the story. So let me show you a few of the ones that we have. We have The Curious Case of the Missing Mammoth, and there is a mammoth that you can get to go along with it. This purple, orange, fuzzy mammoth, pretty adorable. The book is this great combination of a story and facts about animals and science. So Oscar spots a mammoth who's on the loose out of his window. It has flaps in this book, so it makes it super interactive. The plush plus the flaps. So great little flaps in this book. And then you actually follow the mammoth and he goes into the museum. And that's kind of where you start learning about these animal facts in the museum. So it has two big flaps that open up, go in the museum, awesome spread. And then when you're in the museum, there's tons of little flaps to tell you all about animals. Here's 5 quick facts about under the sea. Lots of just really cool facts about art and science, and so just a great kind of combination of learning plus a great story, and then the plush is just super adorable. Nibbles the book monster. So Nibbles likes to eat books. The plush is adorable. It's got this like corduroy texture to it, and then the ears are this stripy felt fabric, so kind of multiple textures in this. Makes a great companion to this book. So this is Nibbles the book monster. Nibbles likes to eat books, and he gets out of his cage, and then it's your job as the reader to catch him. So what he does is he tells you a little bit about him, and then he eats his way into these storybooks, these classic storybooks. And the books are kind of a different size than the rest of the book, so it kind of just creates this awesome depth. So he goes into Goldilocks and the Three Bears through this little hole, and he changes the story. And then he comes out the back of the book, and then he goes into the next story, which is another kind of different little size. So he goes through these stories. He goes through Little Red Riding Hood. I love the illustrations in this. Jack and the Beanstalk goes through that one. Finally, you are able to capture him. You have to quick close the cage, and then you caught him, but you hear some nibbling and gnawing and chewing, and it turns out he has gone out the back of the book. So adorable book. Love the plush with this one. The next 2 books are written and illustrated by the same author, Michelle Nelson Smith. So this one is Jonathan James and the What If Monster. It has adorable little plush that goes along with it, fuzzy with stripy arms. And so Jonathan James and the What If Monster. Jonathan James has a little what if monster that is filling his head full of worries and doubts. So if you have a child that maybe is a little bit of a worrier, this can be a great book for them, or just a lesson for any child that, it's good to try new things. So he says, what if it's hard? What if you don't like the food? What if people laugh at you? And finally, Jonathan James stands up for himself and he says, "Now wait just 1 minute. I have something to say after hearing your what ifs all through the day. I hear all your worries. I hear all your claims. But what if you're wrong?" asked Jonathan James. So he goes through the scenarios of the good things that could happen when he tries new things. And so cute. I love the last page. It says, "And what if the chance that I take in the end is just how I meet my very best friend?" So love this book. Great for, we all have a little what if monster in us, I think, even us as adults. So just a great lesson for kids and adults alike. Another great book by the same author and illustrator is Cordelia. So this one has a cute little plush that goes with it, these yarn red pigtails, little stripy tights, and cute little shoes with a fuzzy top. Love her little dress, so this one's adorable that goes along with it. So Cordelia can fly, and so she flies with the birds. She flies over the ocean. She flies up to space, makes the moon laugh, and plays games with the stars. And then one day people doubt that she can fly. And so she starts to doubt it herself. And so what happens is she stops flying, and her world is filled with gray. She stays on the ground, and there's no color, no sound. But then she decides to stand up for herself, and she says, who is anyone to say if she could or couldn't fly? What was or wasn't possible if they didn't even try? So she decides that she can fly. With confidence and strength, Cordelia began anew. She was the girl who could fly. She knew this was true. So she runs along and she finds that she can fly again. And I love the last line. It says, she knew just who she was, knew who she could be, and this belief in herself set Cordelia free. Just because another can't see this world like you doesn't make things impossible or mean they're not true. So love this book. Awesome lesson in it about confidence and believing in yourself. So this one's awesome. I love our Cuddle Bear book. These are great. Just a really cute story for, I would say anywhere from, kid that's 1 or 2 all the way up to maybe 5. Cuddle Bear is always there to cheer people up with the hugs. So just kind of talking about kindness and love and how sometimes all you need is a hug. So hugs will put things right. So it says, the world needs hugs, says Cuddle Bear, to make each day feel bright. So stretch out both arms and wrap them around your friends and hug them tight. So now you know the secret. Here's what you have to do. Just hug the person that you love and they will hug you too. So awesome, cute little Cuddle Bear that has this patchwork heart on him. So love the message of this book as well. Finally, I want to show you another book by the author Michelle Nelson Schmidt, who wrote Cordelia and Jonathan James and the What If Monster. This is Bob is a Unicorn. This is a really fun book with a great lesson. Bob believes he's a unicorn and he's going around and showing all his friends, and you don't see Bob through the whole book. It says, Bob is a unicorn. Everyone can see that. Everyone but Bob. So it's this conversation that goes back and forth between Bob and all of his friends, and no one can understand what he's doing. People just don't have time for it. But finally, a fairy comes along, and she says, you're the most beautiful unicorn I've ever seen. And they become friends, and she plays with him. And so at the end, it turns out that Bob is an elephant with a paper towel roll on his head, and the fairy is a little girl with wings on. So just this great book about pretending and imagination and play. Bob also has a removable unicorn horn, so he can either be just an elephant, or when he wants, he can put his horn on and be a unicorn. So those are some of the plushes that we have that go along with these awesome books. I just think that they make wonderful companions for these books.